Hello, everybody. Rob Lindeman. I'm really happy to welcome you all to this amazing lab of ours, the Hit Lab New Zealand. Yay! This is called Research Rodeo. Does anybody know why it's called Research Rodeo?
You got kicked off after 5 minutes.
Yeah, so if anybody who knows, a lot of what rodeo is about is you get on a raging bull and you stay on as long as you can. 8 seconds, there was a movie called 8 Seconds. Anyway, the whole thing is that you get on and you try and stay on as long as you can, but usually it's a really short duration, right? And this is, the goal here is for everybody to present in a very short amount of time, condensed amount of time, 5 minutes, and to get feedback if possible. Now, in the past, this hasn't always worked, and because there's just not a lot of time for questions, but it would be great if you have questions to ask, write them down. Some of you have brought paper and pen. Good job. But afterwards, we're going to have some food. And so if you hear somebody talk and there's something interesting, something you didn't know, something that's related to what you're doing, the goal here is to kind of cross-fertilize a bit, because I've heard that there seems to be some separation between master's students and PhD students, or people working on different topics. So the idea is to kind of have us cross-pollinate a little bit more. And I guess because I'm American, it's a rodeo. I don't know, maybe. Could be. The other thing is, one of the things that we're going to try new this year is for master students to have the opportunity to work with PhD students. So you PhD students, imagine you had a worker who's working on a subtopic of your topic. So you have a minion that's working for you, and they're able to work on something that is maybe not on your critical path, but would really help your research. Okay, this is done in other universities and has worked really well. And one of our master students from the previous intake is doing it now, and it seems to be working well. So why is that good? Well, it gives the PhD students some experience in supervising, which is good, because the PhD students magically turn into lecturers at some point, and it's good to have some experience supervising. It helps the PhD student have some support to work on something rather than having, again, to do everything themselves. And it allows the master student to have some direct contact with a more senior person. Usually more people looking at a piece of research or an idea is better than fewer people. So in addition to your supervisory team, now you have a PhD student who's also giving you feedback. And maybe, just maybe, they respond a little bit more quickly than your supervisors do. Just saying. So all these things are something that we're trying. And so in order to get the master students to be able to see what the PhD students are doing, this is one of the things we're doing. Humayun, you get to sit here, please. Yeah. Come in late. And I'm not stalling because Rory's not here, who's supposed to go first. I'm just trying to set things up in a way that so that you see why we're doing this. Okay. So hopefully it hasn't been too onerous to put together your 5 slides. Simon wins the award for putting together the most 5 slides of anybody. He's more 5 than everybody else. It would be very interesting to see his 5 slides. Right, Simon?
I even deleted a few.
He deleted a few, so that's good. So feel happy. Okay. So any questions? Anything I haven't covered? Yeah.
Do we have a timer?
Do you need a timer?
Like somebody's like 1 minute.
Ah, that's a good idea. Does anybody want to serve as a timer? Yeah? So it'd be good if you have a nice, really embarrassing cluck or something that happens. So after 4 minutes, put up one finger like this.
Yeah.
Okay, it means there's 1 minute left.
Oh.
Is that good? So watch this. Oh, look, there's a stop sign.
Oh, that's
Okay.
very.
Thanks, Alex. You want to go first?
Oh, yeah, it's Alex's job, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so actually maybe what we'll do is, Aladdin, maybe we'll have you go first because you have your presentation on a stick or something, I assume. And that way maybe Royer will get here. And so you should, when you're ready, clip this onto you. And
It's always difficult to start. Hello, my name is Aladdin, and I'm pleased to talk to you about my research. Please ask me any questions, and yeah, we will go through it. A little bit about me. Oh, I'll skip through this. I'm originally from Syria, in the Middle East, in the north here, Aleppo, and you can call me Aladdin. Some people call me Aladdin or something else, but the Disney one is okay. I started in June 2013, so I'm effectively 6th year. I'm doing this as part-time because I'm working full-time as a software developer in a local company here. And I'm hoping to finish everything by end of April, so 2 months from today. So the title of my research when I started was Wearable AR for Sharing Social Experiences. So in the literature, there has been a lot of work done about collaboration. Like you have an expert outside and you have a local worker, and the local worker need help from the remote expert, so they connect and share their experience. So it's mainly a work-oriented situation. In my research, I'm thinking about the future when we have all wearable devices or augmented reality available to all of us. How do we use it to connect with our social network? How do we see who is online or who's sharing what, or what interesting experiences we wanted to interact with each other. So at the beginning, well, I had research questions, but I will come back to these. I started working with Google Glass. At that time, it was brand new. And we built this shared experiences where a person wearing Google Glass and another person is looking at a tablet, and they share their point of view. So they can all look independently on a panoramic image that was captured before. And they can use annotation, so they can talk about things, and then they say where I'm looking at or what I'm pointing at. There will be pointing and drawing situations. That was 2014. And the idea was after that, I did this with one of the master's students as well at that time. The idea after that was to use Google Glass to capture panorama. And we didn't have all sophisticated panoramic cameras at that time. But I found out that Google Glass is not powerful enough, and it will take a long time to actually capture panoramic images as opposed to the cameras that we have now. Then I started looking at 3D environment. So we had Google Tango. So I connected it with the Google Glass and add annotation on objects that we find in our daily life, and use this as a way to share social experience. So imagine someone coming to a room and say, okay, I want add a title or a text to a particular object, and then it will stick to this place. Google Glass is a one camera and 2D display, but with Google Tango, which has a depth camera, so to understand where things are, so you get closer to them, they will appear as fixed in the real life. Then after that, we had, in the vision space, we had a sort of 270 projection. So I looked at if we want to share text, where do we want the text to appear on a live video stream? So if someone is streaming video of their surrounding, do we want the text to appear, and someone and other people are commenting on this text? Like if they are adding comments, do we want the text to appear as a list on the side or directly as an AR, or do we want both? Yeah. 1 minute, thank you. Then I started looking at how do we visualize with HoloLens our social contact. So you see different visualization of them depending high fidelity if they are closer to you, or you can make them also physically closer to you. Then I looked at do we want to see them as an avatar in real life or as a miniature on a table? And then I thought, okay, we can maybe call this continuum or a space where, depending on how people are close to you, you can have more details about them, or you don't know them very well, you see less details. And I looked at other parameters that we can play here in the social concept. This work was looking at if this person was sharing a 360 image, if I don't know them very well, this 360 become a video, and if I don't know them at all, then become an image, and I need to stop. Yeah, that's basically it, and have other stuff we plan to do right, and that's it.
Any questions for Aladdin while I switch us over?
So in the social VR, you're showing the distance by different multiple ways. Is that equivalent for all of the participants in, say, this social party or something, or it's to one of the central person?
I'm sorry, say.
So you're showing that like the circle by circle using different ways to show how far this person or like the relationship is close and the distance or close. So is that equivalent for anyone in the party, or it's to one specific person?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand, but I'll try to answer. So these are depending on what you define as a close person to you. So if a close family member, you would want to see them closer to you. If a person you don't know very well, it's about social proximity. And then,
But do they know how you define them?
not at this stage.
Okay.
It's one way, but also it can be done in two ways.
That's my question. Thank you for that.
All right, that's me then. Hello everyone, I'm Bhuvneshwari Sarpuri, but you can call me Bhuvan, and I'm from South India, and my strength, I consider that I'm analytic, and my weakness is not a fan of writing, but that's what I have to do for another 6 months. I hope it goes well. And my hobbies are travel, and I try to cover most of the walks around in New Zealand. And I'm a third year PhD student. I have 4 more months to go probably. And my main research topic is comfortable and usable travel techniques in VR. So in general, travel in VR makes people very sick. So my aim is to find a set of travel techniques which would not make people puke or get tired. So the research question is using multiple locomotion techniques better than using a single one in a complex virtual environment? So I would put it this way, comparing with a real world scenario. So let's say I want to walk in my house, I just walk. And if I want to go around my town, maybe I just use a car or a bike. And if I want to go to another country, I would just use maybe a flight or a train or something. But in most of the games in VR, usually they just have like a single locomotion technique for many different tasks and many environments. So it might make people more tired or sick. So my question is, does having different locomotion techniques for different sizes of environments and tasks better than having a single one? This sums up my PhD. So the elements of discomfort in VR are simulator sickness and fatigue. So to find a way to travel without having these elements of discomfort, I developed trigger walking. It's a technique which uses the gait of human to move around in VR. And people preferred it compared to the trigger, joystick and teleportation, which are majorly used in VR. But the trigger walking was only good for small environments like going around in a room or maybe like a little more, but it wasn't good for long distance travel. So I thought that maybe having different techniques for different scenarios is better. And to do that, I have developed a testbed called Loot, and it's a virtual environment where you have a regions, the long distance, medium, and short distance, where you can test different locomotion techniques and compare the performances. And so right now, my last step is to do like more user studies based on this. And yeah, this sums up my work for now. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
Where do you see, because you're in the topic, where do you see the future of locomotion and VR? Because you see a lot of those companies like the treadmill, what are they called again? There's a bunch of different
Virtual.
Yeah, the Omni, that kind of thing. Do you see it more in that area, or do you think we can get to a point where we can make that aside from external, not using external devices for that?
Hopefully, I mean, virtual reality has always been about like fooling one's brain, like in convincing some, like it's real world. But hopefully, that's what I'm gonna think locomotion is gonna be. Using external devices, especially like Omni, is like too costly. And for normal day-to-day game players, I don't think that works out. So hopefully, like they kind of make changes in the techniques rather than having big sophisticated exoskeletons and Omnis. So hopefully, yeah, I hope that there's developments in the techniques, not like big hardware. So yeah, cool.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Praveen, and I'm from India. Yeah, and you can call me Praveen. And I consider mathematics is my strength, and weakness, I have a stage fright. I had to go through overnight anxiety today to stand here, actually. And speed. So if my leg wasn't broken, I would have kept it as my strength also. And my hobbies.
Break your leg.
And my hobbies include like outdoor activities and sometimes boxing, and I love cars and watching movies. And yeah, my research. I'm a second year PhD student here, and my research topic is interactive image segmentation of mass datasets. Like to give you a brief introduction about mass, mass is a medical imaging technique. It's like normal CT, but it gives you more information than an actual CT. So you will get like multiple data sets for the same object. And interactive image segmentation, like you must have seen automatic segmentations where you segment out persons, cars, and everything. But in medical images, it's really difficult to predefine the objects. So I'm developing an interactive image segmentation where you basically like specify the object you want to segment. For example, here it's a tumor. And then I give you the and then the algorithm automatically delineate the object for you. And yeah, so if you're not happy with the result, you can always add more strokes to refine the result. And the research questions include to make the algorithm good for mass datasets, because mass has a lot of data to work with, as well as it's kind of sometimes it's noisy also. So yeah, to make it accurate and well for like the mass data sets. And this is just results of my slide. For example, if you see this image, I don't know if you can see, but there is another the contrast is so bad. So it's like I've given these strokes like white and red strokes for foreground and background. And if you see the results, like the green color indicates like it's given by clinician, and the blue color is like output of different algorithms. So in my method, I've used some machine learning and combinatorial optimization techniques, and so far like it seemed to be working better than the other results, and like the same input is given to the all algorithms, yeah. And the future plans include to work with like volumes of data instead of single slices, and to seamlessly integrate it with the clinical workflow. That's all.
Exactly 3 minutes.
Questions for Praveen? Okay, it's early. Up, one, go.
Why user-centered, or why with user intervention? I mean, many people strive for pure machine learning approaches here, and they say like, well, we just have to feed enough data. We don't need
Yeah.
the user anymore. So where's the rationale for having you tagging the data first?
Actually, I mean, the mass imaging is relatively new, and one thing, we don't have enough data for the, I mean, like traditional CT, which has been there from 1960s, and this is like 2008 and 2006, and we don't have enough data, and we don't have enough ground truths. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why user has to specify which object they want to segment and then.
Great, hit down one more time. Move to the next slide. Okay, Control.
Hi, my name is Sungcheol Jung, and originally I'm from South Korea, and I went to Orlando, Florida, in United States, and then last year I came to here. All right, just call me Sungcheol, and then my strengths. I seriously think about that. What was my strengths, and then maybe research is not my stress. So I really enjoy the research and the academic area. Academic life, so maybe that is my strength. And then my weakness part is I have to have enough time to think about it, something. So just provide me enough time, okay? And then I have some bad memory function, so that is the reason I should bring my laptop or my mobile. So that's it. And then my hobby is playing with the animal kind of stuff, so that is my hobby. So I'm first year postdoc, and then this is my interest in research area, especially my research interest topic is a relationship between the real world and the virtual world. So when I was a master's student, I was interested at how real environment, real information impact on the virtual world, like a computer graphics stuff or a computer vision stuff. And then my interest is a little bit shift to how we are stuff impact on the human behavior or human perception or cognition stuff. And maybe I also slightly shift to how we are stuff impact on the real physical stuff in real world. So currently I'm working on several projects, and then this is some stuff how now our body representation impact on our perceptual things. And then this also, we call that one is a redirect jumping, which is when we doing the jumping behavior in virtual reality, then how our cognition stuff will affected by the jumping behavior. And this is the we call them multi-sensory stuff. So we can provide the multi-sensory feedback to the participant. Then we wanted to see how the multi-sensory feedback will affect to humans' cognition or perceptual things in terms of their confidence regarding their decision making. And this is a social via things. So how the multi-sensory stuff will affect on our behavior in terms of sociality between the human to human. And then that is also my interested topic, how we can effectively represent our virtual avatar in virtual reality. So those are my interesting topic at this moment. So that's it. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
So
do you said your research on the VR impact on the real world?
Uh-huh.
Do you need to make the impact or the physics behavior in the virtual world more realistic first?
Yeah, so there is maybe some preliminary work on it. So if I just wanted to know in virtual reality, if we doing something manipulation or making some product in virtual reality, then what will be the best way or what is the efficient way to create a certain product? Because right now we have a 3D printing machine, so maybe in virtual reality we can create something product and we send to the printer machine, then maybe in real world we can see the final product. But maybe the size or the color or something other property will be very affected. So I'm just curious what will be the best way to create something product in real world.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Nikita May Twankin Harris, but I'll be removing that soon because it's easier for people to remember my married name. So I'm from the Philippines, and you can just call me Nikita. I would say my strengths are in organizational skills, and I like studying. And I would say my weakness is I'm a perfectionist, and my supervisors know that. I take a lot of time thinking about things. And sometimes I also am easily distracted because I've got a lot of hobbies. So cooking is one. Gardening, I used to work out a lot before, but gardening is workout in itself, you know. It's like weeds endless. Yeah, so I also like to play a lot of video and tabletop games, and I'm also into music. So I'm a fourth-year PhD student, and I'm doing research in, we call redirected eating. So I'm more on the research about the chemical senses. So it's like taste and smell. So how do we apply that into VR? So one of my research question is, how can we make it possible for a person to eat real food while being immersed in VR while also eating that virtual food? So it's a little bit fuzzy, but I'll show some videos later. And also, like, what if we can fool our brain into thinking we're eating or consuming something else? So for example, what if you're on VR, you're drinking wine, but you're actually drinking water? You know, you won't get any hangover effects the next day. So what if we can do that? Fool our brain into thinking we're eating something else. So I had some works, Jedi Force Extension. It's more like an interactive VR thing I've done with Rory and Rob. And I have one short paper as well that I used for a doctoral consortium when I went to Glasgow the last time. And I'm really hoping for a full paper really soon. So I had planned 3 user studies that I need to do, and the first one was a feasibility study wherein I figure out if it's actually even possible to have this urge of eating while in VR. So we just expose people into food, and then we measure their craving or salivary reflex, you know, by showing them chocolate cookies. That's it. And the next user study was to explore usability. So for example, how easy and natural it is for us to actually, you know, grab something and eat it while wearing a VR because you don't see what's actually happening in the real world. And the last one was the most critical user study because I will now be like collating everything I've learned from my past user studies and actually deceive people into, you know, eating something else. So this is one, if it works. I don't think it works. Can I just, no. Oh, that's a bummer.
So
What's the problem? It's not.
It's not playing. Yeah. Anyway, so I've already done these 2 user studies. And in here it says, yes, when you smell something while in VR, you salivate more as well, which is really good. And in here we figured out maybe we don't have the best practice to do it, but it's a very unexplored area, so there's a lot of work in here. And that's the next user study I'm gonna do. And for the master students, I have like 2 projects in mind. So if you're really interested in smell and taste and playing around food, you can come to me. So yep, that's it for me. Any questions? Sure.
I mean, that smell is very important for our taste. That has been known before VR existed.
Yes, yeah.
So you basically have shown now with the first study that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
still true even with VR.
Yeah, yeah. It's
What
still
is the
true.
additional benefit?
We're back.
Should I just go out like this?
Yeah, you can. Okay, that's good. Good big screen.
Yeah. So this is when I had them put in to measure the salivary. So I put cotton rolls in here. And then I measured them on a weighing scale. And some people just salivate a lot more, some really don't. So this was the exposures I did. So I exposed them to real cookies, virtual cookies, photo of cookies, and also with that thing there that I made. So it's just creating this chocolate scent. And also if actually interacting with the cookies would make any difference, but according to my results, not really. The smell was strong enough to do it too. And the second one, the usability study, is more on about, yeah, we've learned a lot of stuff here and we've learned a lot of limitations, but yeah, let's see. Oh, where's that? Yeah, so this is one of it. So we use kind of Wizard of Oz. So whenever they pick up something, I press a button, and when they, eat it, I also press a button to actually remove some stuff. So I use different types of hands, for example, like is a high fidelity hand better or a static hand is much better? It depends, because the high fidelity hands gives you more like feeling, but it's a little bit noisy because I'm using a lip motion here. But yeah, for some it's a struggle to do it, but for some they say it's a little bit tricky, like it's not real, but it's real. So there you have it. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone, I'm Neil Stadoter. I'm a research fellow at the lab, so I do a little bit of teaching and quite a lot of research. I'm Wellington born and raised. I was there for pretty much half my life, and then after university came here and stayed in Christchurch since then. So only really 2 cities, but yeah, so far so good. In terms of things I enjoy, I do quite enjoy gaming, both computer gaming and board gaming. I also go to the gym and enjoy swimming. I do dislike injuries, which is why I don't have soccer listed at the top side, otherwise I would be doing that. But I can still get around with swimming and hiking, so that's good. I mentioned housing prices there just in case someone does go around the table at the end there for lunch. We have a lot of property press leaflets, and if you do go in them, you'll notice that most houses don't have a price for some reason. But I still get them because they are useful as placemats for lunch, so that's a good thing to have. In terms of research, I also work with Ravine on the same project, the Mars project. And I'm specifically looking at what they call spectral CT reconstruction. So A nice way of thinking about this is the analogy of the camera. So in the old days we have black and white cameras, and if you take a picture you have quite a crisp image. With CT, you also have a black and white camera, except that the image that comes out sees everything and you can't really process that. So is that rib behind or in front of that object? You don't really know. So how do you deal with that? Well, if one image doesn't work, you take lots of images. So if you think of a 360-degree video, you're scanning around yourself. This is the same kind of idea, except that you're scanning around an object instead. So you have lots of images. Every single one of them isn't particularly useful by itself, but using a bit of math, you can extract an image that is slice by slice through a person or the object which you're scanning. So that's what the reconstruction part is. You're taking all the X-ray images and you're bringing them together to get crisp slices. Now, of course, I've only talked about black and white cameras. The spectral CT part is about moving to color. So we have colors that we can see, but in X-rays, you also have different shades along the entire spectrum. And we use color in our real world in terms of determining what different objects are. You know, is it plastic, is it wood, is it metal? You can tell that due to the color, also texture and so on. We want to use the X-ray colors to figure out not only what material is there, but how much is in a particular location. And of course, we've sold a couple of our scanners around the world. This thing here, I guess, is an example of the kind of output that the reconstruction I produce would have. So over here, we have a scan of an ankle, and we've separated it out into water, fat, and calcium channels or materials, which represent the muscle or the fat or the bones. And for good measure, I put an MRI image alongside it. You'll notice that the bone parts are quite hidden away and not particularly clear there. This is just a different image in terms of how you view it later on. This is the kind of software that Praveen, Alex, and Harish are working on in the lab as well.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
This is just to show where we stop the thing in that image there. But no, it's our boss's hand, so we can't actually do the cutting there. So, but any questions, I guess?
Questions?
Yep.
Aside from the medical application, where do you see this light? What could that be?
There's a huge range, actually. Archaeology, I think the museum is interested in contacting us with some of their aspects of it. There's security, of course, at flights and so on in terms of luggage, also border security. Other things which are interesting are like meatworks. For example, they want to know where to cut the meat, how to grade the meat. Is the fat big blobs of it, or is it dispersed around? If it's dispersed around, it's tasty. If they're big blobs, people get turned off by it. So there's a huge range of it.
Do you have any oil fields around New Zealand? Because paleontology is the big driver for this type of technology around the UK. It's like digging up bits of rock and trying to figure out how to get the oil out of them. But
Right.
doing CT scans on them.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we do have oil fields, because I do remember
A
a
lot
couple
are
of years
offshore, yeah.
back there being some regulations that we're not allowed to open up anymore,
Right.
but we haven't been in contact with those guys yet.
Yeah, there's heaps out at sea as well, yeah.
I saw your scanner could scan the inner structure of some mental project. So I know that when we do the X-rays scan of our bodies, we need to take off some metallic things.
Metal objects.
Metal object, yes, metal object.
So for CT, you don't have to worry about metals. For MRI, it's magnetic, in which case the metals is a problem. For CT, the main issue is that X-rays are a form of radiation. So you want the dose to be as low as possible. It's one of those things that if someone is very sick, then it's better to know what's going on so you can give them more years of life than not. But ideally, you don't really want to flood them with X-rays or gamma rays or any of that sort.
Good, thank you.
Morning, I'm Kian. So this is my presentation. Um, so I came from Vietnam, which from Thái Nguyên City, which quite close to Hanoi capital, 1 hour and a half away. So my full name is here in Vietnamese, but you could call me Kian. So Kian in Vietnam means patient and consistent. And I have my middle name, which is Thai. It means wise and intelligent. And my mother family name and my father family name. So my place was very famous for growing and producing tea and landscape and stuff. Yeah, my strengths, I consider myself as quite self-determined and self-disciplined. But still, I'm quite introvert and still having trouble with my English. But it quite depends on the speed and the mood when I speak. So my hobby is technologies, hardware, and PC games. I'm a second-year PhD student. I started my PhD here in October 2011. 2017, yeah. And I hope that I will finish it within 3 years. My research topic is to find out how I can keep the people stay comfortably in long VR sessions. And my major research question is how to let in the real-world information into the virtual world seamlessly for the users when they want to switch between the two environments. I've just finished my first piece of work about evaluating the usability of a new prototype HMD, which is called multi-channel dynamic immersion, where the user in the virtual environment can see their real world through video see-through technology, and also they're looking directly to the real world through installed LCD panels. So I created the physical office environment and simulated virtual environment in the virtual reality. And the user has to do one view typing in the virtual reality task and 3 real-world tasks where they have to interact with the daily objects such as the mug, the water mug, and the telephone, the smartphone for taking phone calls. We did several measurements about the subjective and objective measurements for the experiment, and we realized that the user was very excited and consider our new headset as very easy to control, and they may use it in the future.
Where are you presenting this work?
I was accepted for the IEEE VR paper.
Oh, nice, good job.
Yeah. Oh, lucky me. So my future plan is to migrate from the mobile platform of the virtual environment to the Vive platform.
Sorry.
Okay. And improving the design of the headset with the LCD panels and also the software and hardware. Then I should have the version where the user can manually control the headset, and it can also be automatically controlled by the PC computer. And then I will conduct the usability test for the new developed HMD. So that is my information, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Questions?
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I come from Torbay, which is in Auckland. You can call me Natalie or Nat. My strengths are science, psychology, and neuroscience, and my weaknesses, I've discovered, are coding. My hobbies are indoor soccer, yoga, and hiking. So I'm a second year MHIP student. My main research topic is minimizing cyber sickness in VR. My research questions are, what is the best way to measure cyber sickness? And I'm comparing a verbal versus a haptic dial. And what is the best way to communicate this self-monitored warning back to the user? And I'm looking at auditory versus visual warnings. So my current status is I've finished the mini pilot and I'm about to start running the experiment. And my plan for the future is, my plan for the future is to keep developing my skills in UX and human factors and to find engaging and interesting work in these fields. Yeah, and also I'm about to start running my experiment, so if anyone wants to be a participant, just come find me. Yeah.
Questions?
Do you have vouchers for your experiment?
Maybe. No, yes.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many reasons for cyber sickness and
Yeah.
causes.
Yeah.
You can't really try to solve all of them, will you?
Well, we don't actually know the neurological mechanism for cyber sickness. So I don't think we can really discover what specifically causes it until we know how it happens in the brain. So after my research, I feel like the best thing is to do a self-monitored approach. Also because it's very subjective. Like some people may want to be kind of sick and still continue their VR, whereas some people may not want any cyber sickness. So I think after all my research, the best approach is a self-monitored, self-regulated tool that can be standardized. Yeah. And is also continuous throughout a VR approach. Yeah.
Do you think it's like a mind over battery kind of thing?
Yeah, I think if people are anxious, then they're more likely to get cyber sick. So I think it definitely can be psychosomatic. And yeah.
Would it be ethical to manipulate how anxious people are and then throw them into VR and see if they throw up?
Well, they've done. I'm hoping no one's going to throw up. Throwing up is very rare in cyber sickness research, but I've got vomit bags and stuff just in case. But they've done a lot of priming experiments, and it doesn't really work when you try and prime people in an experimental condition. Yeah, but I think that's because it's already kind of an obscure context. Yeah.
Can you habituate people to just not be as cyber sick?
Can you what?
Can you habituate?
Yeah, habituation. Yeah, so that's why I think if we can get people used to VR, we can actually reduce cyber sickness. So I think a lot of the problem with cyber sickness is first-time users who are really nervous and freak out and they get cyber sickness and they're never going to use that again. But if they could habituate, then yeah. Yeah, cool. Thanks.
That was great. Okay, I think we're about halfway through, and it's 10:59. So we'll take a short break if anybody needs to. Meryl, you have to wait a little bit longer. Anybody needs a short break? Maybe take 5.
Yep.
Hold on. Just raise your hand, Greg, when you're ready.
Cool. Hey everyone, my name is Merel. You can make that anything that roughly sounds like Merel. I was born in Amsterdam way back when, but studied in Utrecht, did psychology and later on a master's in once more psychology and one in statistics. I went to Bangalore for a bit, lived there for half a year, went back to Utrecht, did my master's, and now I'm here in Christchurch. I would say my strengths are baking and cooking. I really enjoy those. I can transport almost everything on a bike, not quite everything, but I've done beds and reading chairs, so I'd say I'm pretty good at it. I like statistics. I'm weird like that. I enjoy working with data sets. My weaknesses are that I am terribly chaotic. I need an agenda because otherwise I'll just plan too many things in my days and I'll forget about half of them. I don't deal with sleep deprivation very well. Like, I basically turn into a 5-year-old. First there's the high energy and then there's the crash and your whole world is just stupid and ugly and yeah, it's no fun. But I am here for robot bullying. That's why I got lured to Christchurch. So robot bullying was first observed when people put robots in public spaces. And you can see there the kids with the RoboV robot in, I think, a South Korean shopping mall, maybe a Japanese, I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, kids kept harassing the robot and they couldn't figure out a way to chase them away. Eventually, the only thing that actually worked was having the robot recognize any kind of human shape under 1.30 meters and run away from it. That, similarly, there has been in America the Nightscope robot, which has been attacked a couple of times. There's of course a lovely Hitchbot, which was hitchhiking all through Canada and then even through Europe, and then in America got completely trashed within 2 weeks. And that begs the question, like, why? What goes on in people's minds when they see something that they know is just an object, but they bully it? And that's the thing, right? You vandalize a telephone booth, but those robots are slapped and they're yelled at and they're insulted, which suggests it's a social behavior, hence the psychology. So I'm nearly 2 years in. I'm starting to get quite nervous about that, so please don't mention it again. I've done 2 experiments. I've got a couple of site studies that have been working. I've got 1 publication, which I'm very happy with. There's 4 things right now that I'm submitting to different places and hopefully will get accepted. And I even managed to co-author a book, which is not so much of my own doing as me just being lucky and my supervisor, Christoph, being like, hey, let's write a book. You're my PhD student, come along. But there will be some sections that I wrote in there, and I'm very happy with that. Thank you. It will be published soon by Cambridge Press, and will be online in a PDF format as well, if any of you guys are interested. So I have got 1 year and 1 month left. I hope to fit in 2 more experiments. I finished my ethics application for the first, so that's a good start. Yeah, working on the publications, fingers crossed. And then there is a thesis which should be written at some point near the end. Yeah, and that's me. Any questions? Yeah.
What's your book?
I think right now they're just HRI, human-robot interaction. It's supposed to be like the standard work for anyone who wants to step into the field, because there is no such work yet. I'll send you a link if you want.
Are your robots autonomous, or are they sort of teleoperated?
The previous one, for my previous experiment, it was autonomous. Then the next one's probably going to be more of a Wizard of Oz experiment. I am not looking at a particular robot type or anything. I'm more looking at the human side of things. So is there anything we can tweak about, like priming or the way the robot is introduced to the human that makes them more or less likely to get aggressive?
Do you think anthropomorphized robots are more accepted than non-anthropomorphized robots?
That's a very tricky question. I would say it depends a lot on the robot's skills. Because anthropomorphism can come in a whole bunch of different ways, right? It can look like a human, it can act like a human. And what we find is that we base our expectations on what the feedback we'd gotten before. So one of the mistakes they made in early robots was giving it a mouth when it couldn't actually speak, or having it, or what you see right now is having some sort of understanding of verbal instructions, but not all of them. Simply because I can say, hey, what's the weather? I expect somehow the robot to also be able to tell me all other kinds of stuff, which it may or may not be able to do. So I would say some aggression will probably be part of anthropomorphism, also because of the implications of rude behavior. If I talk to you and you don't talk back, I might be quite offended, and a robot might not be able to talk back or might not be able to understand. But it's not the sole factor, I think. Cool. Then
Okay, hello everyone, I'm Yu Wang, and here I come with my presentation. And well, the font is too small. And I come from Beijing Institute of Technology, China, and I just call me Yu and or you, yeah. Okay, yeah. Where's you? Who is you? Yeah. And I think Jade is a boy's name. I have asked several English speaking people, so they said Jade is a boy name, so it's also okay to call me Jade. And my strength is programming, and yes, I can do C# or C++ plain coding. If you have some questions about this, you can feel free to ask me. And I'm also like doing analysis and modeling. My major is mechanical engineering, so I can use some mechanical modeling softwares. So if you want to produce some 3D printers models, you can also feel free to ask me to do that. Yes, I'm glad to help. And my weakness is time arrangement. Yes, that's a very huge weakness. And everything is finished at the deadlines. Yeah, I have done this for several times. And my hobby is coffee craft. Yes, I like to do every kind of coffees. For example, like Aladdin's, where is that? Yeah. Aladdin's, the Turkish coffee. I'm very interested about it. And I like to do the Latin art, or do some cappuccino or something else. Yes, if you want to have a try, you could come to my house and I can make a cup of coffee for you. Yes.
How do you use?
And yeah, I'm a 1 year HIT visitor here, and I'm a 3rd year PhD student in my Chinese college. And my main research topic is applying VR interface into mechanical engineering. That means how do we use VR interactions technologies to improve the efficiency of doing mechanical design or doing a mechanical training or something else. And my research questions, actually I haven't decided a fixed question, so I list a lot like VR-aided design or VR-aided training or tele instructions. And generally speaking, it's just how do we use VR technology to improve our mechanical design. Yeah, it's just like current stage is computer-aided design. In the next stage, it may be VR-aided design. Yeah, that's the thing. And creator status, I'd like to give a lot of pictures or videos on this slide, but unfortunately, I forgot those materials in my Chinese computers. So, and it's very hard to ask my coworkers to send them. So I just say a lot, yeah. And plan for futures, I'd like to build a system that is a VR-aided tele design and training system. And I have ideas that I can build a workplace in my Chinese laboratory and work with physicians here, and we can do some do some collaborations through the VR environment. And that's all. And this is my Chinese email address. Yeah, that's a very funny name because I'm not very familiar with English at that time. So yeah, if you want to contact me in Chinese, just send emails to this address. Yeah, and the website, yes, I don't have a website for now, but we have we have a WeChat public account of our laboratory. So if you have a WeChat applications, you can download it and search for, I will give you the names if you want, and you can find our research. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Better than the Lord is fat, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, all good? Okay, thank you.
I need this for the video, right? Yes. All right. Okay. So, hi guys, I'm Tham. My full name is Tham Thamathip Piamsambun, and that's how you pronounce it in Thai. So where I come from, I'm from Bangkok, Thailand, and it's a nice city with a mixture of like classical Thai art and the modern, buildings. And who have been to Bangkok? Cool, good number, cool, right? For me, you can call me Tam. The only person that call me Tam is like Adrian, just right here. You still call me Tam, right? Yeah. Adrian is was my co-supervisor when I was doing my PhD here, and thanks to him, I'm here today. Okay. So my strength, I believe that I have this quality. Like I think I'm adaptable. I'm agile, move quickly, sometimes not firmly, but and I think I'm innovative in some way. So I try to integrate new kind of thinking into like the traditional way. My weaknesses, I mean, it's a long list. And one thing I know is that right now I need more exercises. Like healthy physically also, translate to mental well-being as well. So really need that. In terms of my hobbies, I love traveling with my wife. I like taking photos, and I also enjoy traveling with my friend. Aladdin was here as well, and we were on a yacht. It was a great experience, right? Yeah, he confirmed it. So, and beyond that, I also like doing adventures in VR with my wife. This in Rec Room, and you can like do all sorts of adventure like quests, this kind of thing, with your friends. So I graduated in 2015, December 2015, from Canterbury. I was here in HitLab. Actually, in 2015, I was in Tokyo with these guys out here. Back then, they have an office over there. And then 2016, I became a research fellow in Australia. And then this year, I just moved back here as a lecturer. So I'm still fresh, and new. My research topic is in like immersive interfaces, so AR, VR, MR. And my focus or my strength in research is in interaction design, and more recently moved into collaboration. So I have an example video I'm going to show you after. My research questions, it's like there's all sorts of projects and things, but what I tend to do is to leverage human nature, so like understanding human natures and try to kind of accommodate that using the technology and enhance that with the technology to create better experience, better overall productivity, efficiency, whatever that technology can bring to us. Current status, I'm refining current ideas and looking for opportunity for new topics. And because I just moved into School of Product Design, and so there are opportunities to work with designers. So I'm trying to kind of merge the two. And plan for the future, depending on how far you ask. Right now I'm just trying to survive. and like what Simon said, like, survive and thrive within the next couple of years, hopefully not too far. Rob said that maybe 3 years most, hopefully, try to seek more life balance. Having continuing position is good, so I don't have to, 1 minute, I should show the video. It's not showing, have the same problem.
You just,
Quit and then play, yep. Hopefully that's
a multi-scale mixed reality collaboration between the Giant, a local augmented reality user, and the Miniature, a remote virtual reality user, in Giant Miniature Collaboration, or GMC.
Yeah.
We combined a 360 camera with a 6-degree of freedom tracker to create a tangible interface where the Giant, who can physically manipulate the miniature, and the miniature can be immersed in a 360 video. We implemented a prototype system as a proof of concept and conducted a user study with 24 participants. Prior to the study, we conducted an online survey to find an appropriate representation for the miniature avatar in a professional context. The user study was made up of 4 parts. In Part A, we compared 2 types of virtual representations between an avatar and a view frustum, which yielded 4 conditions. avatar only, frustum only, avatar and frustum, and no visualization as a baseline. In part B, we examine 3 levels of miniature control: a full control with 6 degrees of freedom in the dependent condition, a 4 degree of freedom with position and yaw rotation in the semi-dependent condition, and a 3 degree of freedom position only control in the independent condition. In part C, we compared the 3 corresponding levels of 360 video view dependencies to the miniature control. A dependent view with full 3 degree of freedom rotation, a semi-dependent view with 1 degree of freedom rotation in a sideways direction, and an independent view with no rotation effect. In part D, we let our participants experience 4 360 camera placement positions on the Giant. The results show users prefer shoulder-mounted camera view, while view frustum with a complementary avatar is a good visualization for the miniature virtual representation. From the results, we gave design recommendations and demonstrated an example of Giant miniature interaction. With summoning, the Giant could summon the remote VR user to enter the miniature mode. For privacy, the Giant could flip the camera upside down, denying the miniature mode access to the remote VR user. For attention grabbing, the miniature can change the appearance to draw the attention of the Giant. We present GMC, the Giant miniature collaboration, with 360 video sharing and tangible interaction for multi-scale mixed reality collaboration. For more details, please refer to our paper.
Yep, so this is the latest work that we're going to present at CHI this year, and that's it for me. Yeah.
Any questions for Pam?
Just going to, okay. Nope, all good.
So cool.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so you'll be at Glasgow.
Yeah,
Right.
trying to apply for visa right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Certainly so. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hendrik Engelbrecht. I'm not going to do the German pronunciation. Just we keep it at Engelbrecht because things get complicated. So where I come from Germany. I always say more or less because for the last 7 years I've been living in the Netherlands. Then after finishing, so I did my bachelor's in psychology, my master's in game design, and then I've been working as a gamification designer for a while in Amsterdam as well as Bangalore in India. And then worked for the TU Delft in the Netherlands as a researcher for a year on like a time-bound project, and now I'm here. Hendrik is fine. There's not really any nicknames. There used to be, but those are luckily gone. As far as strength goes, I think I'm fairly decent when it comes to methodology, all in the frame of reference of a first-year PhD student, right? When it comes to big research setups, I love doing like very elaborate research setups. When it comes to UX, simply because I've been working as like a UXer / gamification designer before, gamification generally, and I would always say I'm a human factors researcher because I'm more, and that also relates then back to the weaknesses, I'm more on the human side than I am on the systems side when it comes to evaluation, when it comes to research. I'm not a great coder. I'm not a 3D artist. I'm not a mechanical engineer, unfortunately, none of these things. So that is also where I think a lot of the collaboration is going to happen because I'm getting better, but at the end of the day, it's still not fantastic yet. As far as hobbies go, I love video games and generally the industry. I love theater and acting, and luckily there's also a group here in Christchurch that I found now, which is great. I love listening to podcasts, occupies a lot of my time during the week. Movies, really bad B movies, and horror movies, and hiking since I've gotten here because I kind of changed my life to be an outside person now because everybody's kind of an outside person here, and it's a lot more rewarding to be an outside person in Christchurch than an inside person. Cool. My research. So yeah, the thing is, I mean, I've gotten here like a month ago, literally, tomorrow. So it's still, we're getting there. The overarching theme is immersive technologies for emergency response teams. So we're working with the New Zealand Fire Department, Fire Service. So this is based on the work that Rory has done over the last few years with them. So he's going to present in a bit as well. And we're getting there, hopefully, slowly. It's about finding the gap, really, about doing like observational studies with the guys at the fire department, but also doing the literature review, doing like the necessary steps in order to get there. For the future, well, it's early days, so I'd like to stay in academia, but I don't know. This is the aim that I'm going for because I like it here and I would like to stay, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's not the easiest path to take, but hopefully we're going to get there. So I think because for my current research, there's not that too much to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing because it does kind of work really nicely into what's going to happen now. So at the TU Delft, we've been working with the Dutch National Police on hotspot policing in the field and also using AR for field officers. And we've done some studies if you're interested. The link is also on my PhD. This goes to my Google Scholar for the publications. We just had something, the publication accepted to UbiComp last week. So that was, thank you. And there's a couple more there if you're curious to read up. So we've done a lot of like very large setups where we sectioned off parts of the city, like the municipality had been involved, the entire police department. It was really, really cool what they allowed us to do back then. I hope that we can continue doing this kind of thing over here to really look at what it means to use technology in the field and to not only on a theoretical level, but with the guys who are actually doing the work and measuring it while they're doing it. We had setups where we had actors play perpetrators and we had arrests take place and the whole shebang. And it was really, really fun to do. And I hope that similarly here with the fire department, we can go into a similar direction of getting out there and getting our hands dirty properly to do research. Thank you.
Question.
Cool. All right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mine's a bit more practically orientated. That map you had there,
Yeah.
is that showing their projections for where they're going to get?
So this is
or
so hotspot policing is basically saying that you try to see where crime occurs, and based on that, you're placing like kind of areas on the map where it's like smart to police. They're also called predictive policing because so all these little spots are the map that they see on their phones as well. And if they get into a certain radius, they should go to these spots in order to work off the spot, and then it turns green. And this is the interface that they have back at operations, where the main officer, the team leader, allocates the resources. So he can see where the officers are currently, what the hotspots have been worked off, and kind of where to send them. So we had things with like, if a missing child is over here, so this is like a special hotspot, and then you can see where to send them and these kind of things. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, the reason I ask is just because I've used a similar system with the ambulance here. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, to locate ambulance stations. So, yeah.
That will be interesting to look at.
So, no, it's quite cool.
Cool. Thanks.
Next.
Hello, I'm Simon. Great to have this opportunity again, the third time to talk about me. I'm a second-year lecturer in product design, similar to Tam, where I'm come from. So I'm from this beautiful place called South Tyrol, or in our native language, Südtirol. So if you have the wide range, you have the world, and then you have Europe somewhere, and then you have this country here, which is called Italy, and then you go very north, the most north part. There's around 500,000 people, a little bit more now, and most of them speak German, although it's technically part of Italy. Yep.
And they have the best food.
Yeah, we have a lot of food. We have German food, Austrian food, and a lot of Italian food. So you have, it's kind of a bicultural area, similar to New Zealand, I would say. Actually, when I went through the history of New Zealand, the timeline also almost aligns. Okay. So
would like to be called Simon, but if somebody, for some strange reason, has the need to use my last name, this is a little bit of a guidance. If you pronounce the Ö in German, you can go with Sir, and then it sounds like Herman, so it's like exactly my name, so or very close to my name, how it would be pronounced in native language. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, but I'm interested, I think it's my strength. I have been working for about 10 years now in human interface technology, usability, user experience design, evaluation and application. My weakness is still singing. Every year I try to improve it, and unfortunately it doesn't seem like I'm getting any better. Just kidding. I'm not getting better. Well, challenging. Okay, so I'm still a research affiliate with the HIT Lab, which is great. My research specialty. So I redefined it a little bit. I'm very interested in human interface technology for health and well-being. In the past, I worked a lot in more clinical applications of human interface technology, augmented and virtual reality. And now I'm also, this is the major project nowadays. It's behavior change and virtual rehabilitation. My research goal, also gives me every year a little bit of an opportunity to revise my research goal or my overall perspective. So it's to study, advance, and apply current human interface technology for basic science and practical real-world scenarios. And essentially, I would like to understand how technology can create and influence user experiences and support healthy and impaired humans in their ability to flourish and to unlock their full potential. More or less, it's still my research goal, and overall the theme that spans around all the research that I'm doing. And if there's a new project coming up, I'm generally looking, does it match more or less what my overarching theme is, and then I decide if it's going to be part of my research. So research topics, at the moment I have 2 research topics that I'm working on. It's smoking and vaping behavior in virtual reality. Essentially, what I'd like to do is to expose people to stimuli in virtual reality and help them in that way to potentially mitigate their challenges and help them to actually cease smoking or stop smoking, or if they are not able to stop smoking, at least to move from smoking away to vaping. And the other project that I've naturally been interested in first responder training. I've been a firefighter myself for about 10 years, went through a lot of training, firefighter training, and made it up to squad leader, at least from a certificate level point of view. And so that's also very interesting. So the smoking and vaping behavior studies together with NAVAM and with people from GeoHealth Laboratory and first responder training with a lot of people from the lab here. Okay, current status, teaching, undergrads mostly, and plans for the future. Survive, thrive, time already can inspire, so that's kind of a little bit of a new thing, being in a lecture level with lots and supervisor level. I try to inspire people, try to improve myself, and to see every time that I'm working at still at international level and prepare people to be better in the future. Good. Obviously, a couple of pictures about my family. So that was the pictures that I saw 2017. Then we have 2018, the second child, and now they are already at daycare. And Elisa is starting to walk. Just the other day, she did her first step. So I was like, that's me. Questions?
Questions for Simon?
Good. Okay.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Sophia Huang, and my Chinese name is Xiaoyan, but everyone call me Sophia here, so you can just call me Sophia, and I come from China. I find this strange just during my master years, because I find, during the last year, I find I'm super patient and have enthusiasm in everything and keep learning and do my master projects. But my weakness is like I'm not good at communications. I need time to to organize my languages and everything. And my hobby is like baking, the cooking, because here we don't have very good Asian food here, so I just cook myself. Yeah, and hiking. Yeah, New Zealand is very good place for you to go outside, and I love fashion design. And Chris said I can be a fashion designer in VR. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm the master students from last year, and I'm about to submit my thesis. I hope next week, because we don't keep, my supervisor keeps saying, he will send me the feedback today. I keep saying that. Yeah, and my research topics is about improving the virtual safety interface with depth sensing. Aside when the player is wearing the headsets, they cannot see anything in the real world. So when they are too immersive in the virtual world, they might bump into the real objects and they may hurt themselves. So, and currently the methods side, they present the virtual world or the 2D outlines. Aside, they present because when we are playing, before we play the VR games in the room scale, we will scan the playing area at first, and then when the user go to the boundary, and they will see the virtual world or the 2D outlines. But these strategies, they didn't provide the geometrical information. So I want to investigate whether the interaction safety can be improved if we had depth information. So my research question is, I have two research questions. One is, can the depth-based virtual safety interface improve the interaction safety in VR environments and for the real walking navigation? And the second one is, can the color visualization based on the depth value improve the interaction safety more? I developed two safety interface. They all have the 3D, the depth, the spatial information of the real world. And here is a picture. I use the 2D outlines here as the controlled, and my interface, I have two interfaces. One is the single colors, and the second one is we have several colors. Yeah, according to the depth value. And I run two studies to answer my questions, and this is my results. The first I found is with the 3D interface, participants, they can avoid the collisions more precisely and more confidently. And the second one is the color visualization provided more hints to the users for determining the distance between themselves and the real objects, so they can avoid the obstacles more easily than the single color one. Yeah. So my future slides, because I'm still quite interested in the VR, the game design, the UX design. So currently I might find some internships or jobs or projects to do, and I may not go to PhDs so quickly because I push myself so hard during the master year. I need the time to relax. Yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of interested in the social AR, the VR things. It's human things, whether we can use it to overcome the social barriers, something like that. Yeah, good. So, any questions?
Questions for Sophia?
How do you feel that you've submitted?
She hasn't yet.
You haven't submitted? Oh.
Next week.
This is
Yeah, next week.
saying, have you tried to brush for fashion design in VR?
Not yet. I just try to do it in the theory ways, and I have sewing machines, and I try to design some clothes.
I think you can copy as your PhD project.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can start with toothbrush or something like that. Quill.
Good idea. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm very close to the end of the list, so you guys will soon be relieved to the food. I'm Chris. So yeah, you can just call me Chris. I'm from Linhai City, Zhejiang Province, China, pretty much at this very tip to the China Eastern Sea comparing to the world map. So I always have a lot of ideas and I want to create a lot of stuff. I do like movies, sci-fi, reading sci-fi, also translate sci-fi books, I did. PlayStation games, vlogs, and photos, and recently just picked up geocaching from Rob very freshly. And so the city I came from is kind of very small, but it actually holds one of the very largest prototype in China, which is the Great Wall. So the general who built the Great Wall in Beijing, actually before he did that, he built the Great Wall in Linhai, which is the hometown I came from, as a prototype. To test everything around it, then went to Beijing, built it as a defense mechanism. So yeah, so any MK students, if you are learning product design, don't be limited by how large a prototype can be. So that's the city, entire city.
Does it work?
It's actually still working, so you can just take an entire tour around the city to see all different parts, like what this do, and how it's working against it. But of course, no invaders, but we do have flood coming, so that kind of blocks the flood time by time. And it is. So the shape is a little why this is not square, because it's not being pushed away by the water when this flood coming from this river. So I am still a first-year PhD over here. What I'm doing is about related to immersive storytelling, try to direct attention to all the setup. So first thing we choose as a medium to do the research is 360 video, and if you are familiar with that comparing to a traditional TV or filmmaking, is that the scenario just changes. So if you do a film watching, like what are you guys doing now? You're sitting in a fixed seat and looking at the screen, but if I put you into a 360 video, you suddenly got all the freedom to look around and problems come in. So first it's like, we always were looking for guidelines for switching to this kind of new medium for immersive. First thing is, what is the setup? So you are sitting on a chair and you have a screen, it's like looking at a video, but if I remove the screen thinking you are sitting on a ferry boat somewhere on the boat going through a London Bridge, then it becomes a guiding tour and I am the guide. And then we might have a problem is first how to attract the audience attention to the storyteller, because I see you as like switching between the screen and me. And the other way is, if it is interactive, how the audience can get attention from the storyteller towards the audience. Say, like someone when giving a presentation, a male give this 1 minute present, but it's being ignored, so that's like the attention is not being caught. So far we've tried this on 360 video, and I was using this poster, so we have other specialists, like professors, went to different places, Antarctica or Iceland, try different social cues, like what we do in daily communication, just like pointing to the destination if you want someone to pay attention to the scene, or pointing to distance, or just like pick up something at a very close distance. So there are gestures and eye contact and these conversation skills we'll be using, and we're testing whether people are going to following this kind of thing or they're just wandering away and miss the story, which we do not want to see. And for the future plans, I would like to move on to more about storytelling itself. So think about, like, I was thinking always 1,000 years ago, how we do storytelling before any technology came in is we sit around a bonfire, and then the one who tells the story, everyone fills in with a memory, and that memory and imagination then becomes your story. So if, in the anime, thank you, in Disney, so they have this scenario when I forgot the name, the spirit comes in to like fill your memory by changing the morphs, and also I have an upcoming project related to Maori culture. So this is the tower trails we have in the campus. Also to look into whether we can bond in virtual reality immersive technology to tell their story of the back of the history and give you kind of a new experience around that. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Yes?
How do you think 5G technology will affect 360 video?
Yes, definitely. So if 5G, I heard they are unbelievably fast and widespreading. So if it really comes true, we might set up a streaming system from here to Antarctica if that becomes a reality, and that's what I'm looking to, definitely. No, thank you.
Okay. Humayun.
Hello everyone. So my name is Humayun Khan. So I'm a second year PhD student, originally from Pakistan. I lived for 9 years in Singapore, and it's been 3 years here. The way you pronounce my name is Humayun. It's quite easy to follow. My name came from a Persian word, huma, and it's basically a phoenix in Persian mythology. Strengths and weaknesses. I think it's my legs, man. I just get a lot of attention, love.
Wait, you have to explain that a little bit.
All right.
You can't just throw that out there.
And you smashing it on
I got a lot of love from strength and weakness because I get a lot of attention. Sorry. So hobbies, I love squash, traveling. I also love working on cars and working on robots. This is one of the cars which I work with my 3 friends. 2 of them are here, but I'm not gonna name. So yeah, this was on the way to Mount Cook. It was pretty good. So my research topic is on localization of first responders in an indoor environment with minimal infrastructure. So basically the idea is to have an indoor GPS for first responders to track them within an indoor environment. And it's to provide them feedback during the training exercise. So to create this localization system, I'm using inertial sensors, magnetometer, and fiducial marker-based tracking, which I will explain in my next slide. So basically my system is a few different inertial sensor devices which are mounted on different parts of the body. A foot-mounted IMU, a waist-mounted IMU, and a camera with an IMU. So the reason having multiple devices is to have to get position and orientation from different sources, and then combine them together to have more accurate position and orientation values. So the next slide. So these are my research questions. So mainly my tracking involves inertial sensors. So my research questions are also around the inertial sensors. The problem with inertial sensors is that they accumulate error over time, and the error needs to be corrected with another system. Like in my case, it's a camera-based system with fiducial markers placed around the building. So my first research question is like, how quickly does the inertial sensor, how quickly the drift accumulates with the inertial sensor, and where should we place the markers to counter that drift. My second question is on correlation between number of IMUs and positional accuracy. So basically, with having more number of IMUs, the drift decreases, and so yeah, that's why I want to find out the correlation. And third is on different motion of first responders. And fourth is how does because camera has a lot of power consumption, so how does the camera and how does does optimizing the camera input lowers the power consumption? So my current progress is like I've already done some position tracking with IMUs, and I've implemented fiducial marker-based tracking as well. At the moment, they are individually implemented, and in the future, I plan to combine them together. And for future, I also want to do some heading correction with some other sensors. Yeah. So yeah, that's my question.
Questions?
That's pretty bad. Sorry.
So what is the accuracy of your responders?
So what I'm looking at is around 1 meter, under meter.
1 meter.
Yeah, and under.
For large scale room or for whole building?
For whole building, under a meter and under 5 degrees heading. Yeah, 5 degrees.
5 degrees.
5 degrees orientation.
So which degrees is lost?
So it's the heading, like so you have roll, yaw, and pitch. So it's the yaw. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Currently, the IMUs can get you within 4 degrees of accuracy, but position you lose a lot because of the drift accumulation. So that's why I have fiducial markers placed around the building and a camera that recognizes the markers.
Will it be awkward to wear?
Hmm?
Will it be awkward to wear? Like a lot of device you need to wear?
Oh, you mean variability? Because they can be connected. The IMU's data can be sent through wirelessly. So you can have like one processor on your backpack or something, and then you can wirelessly transmit from foot to the processor. There's a camera, and then there's two more sensors. Yeah, but usually the first responders have the helmet, and they also have devices which are there. So
heavy gear. And
yeah,
things,
so just using them, like utilizing those.
And first but not last.
Last but not
Rory,
first.
who thought that we started at 12. Which he gets to do now.
Yeah, sorry, I was kind of stuck in a bit of a time warp there, but never mind. Hi everyone, my name's Rory. I'm probably one of the longest standing members here at the lab, maybe except for Tam. Don't know who else is out there now. Yeah, all right. So yeah, my research is on virtual air attack supervisor training. So looking at how our wildfire firefighters put out fires and basically how to train them in their off season. And here we're looking at using heart rate variability as a measurement for detecting stress and trying to emulate the stress that they experience out in the field in our virtual setting. So you might have experienced a bit of nervousness or a bit of heart rate palpitations while you're up here. So we want to capture that data and basically see if we can recreate it in the field. So before getting into any of that, so hopefully none of you peeked at my slides earlier, but these are my chinchilla. I've got 2 chinchilla, and it's my little dog, Lady. We brought her over from Poland last year. She's 15 years old, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm from New Zealand. I'm actually a Māori. So if you've got any concerns around your ethics around the Māori side of that, you can approach me and I can give you advice around that. So I've got pretty good knowledge on the protocols or the tikanga around that. So yeah, I'm pretty adaptive. I'm quick thinking and I'm very tenacious. I don't like giving up. So there's probably a point in my PhD where I wanted to give up, but I didn't because I'm maybe too big-headed or I don't know what it is, but I'm still here and thank God because I'm nearly at the end. So, yep. And so yeah, I'm really into technology and user experience. So I'm currently also doing a course on the Interaction Design Foundation for user-centered design or user research. Should have done that before I did this, but never mind. I like tinkering, I like retro gaming, so I'm not really a big fan of the new modern games. They're all just about how to steal your money or take your money off you to sell your silly clothes online. But, you know, I like it retro styles where it's all about, you know, single player and walking around in text-based adventures and that kind of carry on. Yeah, I really like sports cars. So I've got a Nissan Skyline that I've got in my shed that's probably been sitting on jack stands for the past 2 years, but never mind. I'll get onto that after I've finished here. I like gardening and I like upcycling. I don't like waste. I'm really against the way we go around throwing out plastic and all that kind of carry on. Really hate that, so I'm all about reusing, repurposing, and I really like exploring our natural environment, so getting out into the mountains and into the forests and seeing all the native species. So yeah, that's what I like doing. So yeah, I'm a final year student here. Probably said that a couple of years now. So this is for real this time. Yeah, so yeah, as I said before, I'm looking at stressful, high-risk occupations, being able to recreate that stress in the field in our virtual lab. I've done 3 experiments, and so from the user-centered design approach I took with my clients, which is the Fire and Emergency New Zealand, we discovered, well, for air attack firefighting, that situation awareness and communication and decision making were the 3 primary attributes that these guys need. So I based my 3 experiments around that. And from those experiments, we were quite successful. We created 2 conference papers. One I presented last year at VS Games, and one that's just been accepted for the IEEE VR 2019, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And also created 1 workshop paper and a poster, which was also accepted at IEEE VR last year. And I've got 1 journal article that's currently under review, so pretty happy with all that. Actually, yeah, that's it. So I'm happy to give demos after this as well, if there's any avid flight simmers out there. So that system you saw here, that's for real. That's what we got in the vision space down the end. So I'm happy to show you.
Anthony's son definitely wants to come try it.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy to operate. You just turn the computer on and the screen's on and away you go.
I can't use it.
No? All right. So that's it. So short and sweet. Any questions?
Any questions for Rory?
Happy to bring my dog in if the people above allow it, but yeah, maybe I could just bring her outside. Huh?
What about chinchillas?
I don't know. I might be able to, but again, I have to get permission.
What about the skyline?
Look, if you just want to come to my house, it's just down the road. I can show you all of these things.
Maybe we take a coffee machine there and like.
Yeah, we'll bring you along. You can make coffee. I like coffee too, so yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so I just want to kind of wrap things up. So this was really good. I hope you guys found this, I hope especially the master's students, you found this enlightening somehow, and you're ready to glom on to some PhD students and help them with their research and again, have some good focus about what you're working on. There's a lot of really rich work going on in the lab, and I'm always really impressed when we do these things to see both the breadth of work being done and the depth of the focus, which is really great. I definitely see some research themes, which is good. So there's definitely something around comfort in VR, which is really good, trying to keep people safe and comfortable. The application space is also really well represented. And so it's, and multisensory seems to show up in a couple places as well. So it's really good to see these themes coming through. A couple things for you all is that we have a number of, we actually have 2 postdoc positions that are open now. One of them needs to be from somebody who's abroad, and the other one is just open. So if you know, in your research circles or people that you talk to, we are looking to bring in 2 more postdocs. And then we're also looking to bring in, we have 3 PhD scholarships that are available. And so these are things that at the VR conference, at the Game Developers Conference, at different places that we go, we'll be talking and see if we can put out the word around these things. So those of you who are going to the VR conference, you'll be meeting with lots of students and these sorts of things. If there's anybody you think is just about to graduate looking for a postdoc or something you think would fit with the kinds of things we do in the lab, it would be great to have that. The other thing is Bhuvan last year went to Seattle for an internship, and that was funded by the Christchurch Seattle Sister Cities. So I don't know if you know this, Christchurch and Seattle are sister cities. And the Sister City Foundation is going to support a PhD student going to Seattle for 3 to 6 months. So that opportunity is available again this year. So we're trying to identify a good student, or a student who is in the right phase of their PhD and whose areas match some of the things that they're looking for. So that's something that is available if anybody is interested. Anybody have anything they want to say? Anything? Nope. Okay, so I think there's some food. If anybody didn't put out their food, they can maybe go grab it and put it out. We'll probably do another one of these again in about 6 months. So all you master students will have lots of stuff to talk about in about 6 months and or 12 months. No pressure. There's never any pressure. The other kind of theme that I've seen coming through is hiking. So how many people really like to hike? So this is very, very easy, as many of you have realized in New Zealand, it's very easy to go hiking because there's lots of great places. So what we could do next time, maybe we could organize a lab hike. And we'll go someplace maybe about an hour away and just have a nice time, maybe before it gets too cold. Would that be good? Yeah. Okay, cool. Other than that, again, thanks everybody. Thanks Mel for doing some of the organization. Thank you, Greg, for doing getting the IT together. Again, really, hopefully this is more of a starter than a stopper, so that you guys can talk to each other about your research and about any things that seem to be related. Okay. All right. Thanks. And let's see.